Live from New York, it's
the world's largest menorah.
Ask an Engineer.
And it's also Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada. The engineer with me is Mr. Lady Ada, broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan, also known as the home of the world's largest menorah.
Yeah, we went to Central Park on Monday night, and we filmed the lighting of...
Sunday night.
Sunday? Was
Yeah,
it Sunday?
Sunday.
Days blur together.
I know.
Yeah, Manhattan is home of not only Central Park, but the world's largest menorah. So,
And Adafruit.
And Adafruit, which I think is a national landmark, or one day will be.
Okay.
And that just kicks off the holiday season, and we're here to say healthy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. It's Ask an Engineer.
That's right. We got a full show for you, 1 hour plus all the maker news and updates and guides and projects and videos. Let's get right to it because we got a lot going on.
All right, on tonight's show, we are Shipping Safe and Smart. We'll be talking about all sorts of things, including what's going on in New York City. Our Adafruit team thanks you. Here's some pre-COVID photos. Please continue to place orders on Adafruit.com. That helps us at Adafruit manufacturer in New York City, 100% woman-owned. We are here. We are going to get through all of this together. We can only do that when you place an order, so please place an order. We very much appreciate it. Show and tell people around the world showing their projects. We have a show and tell every single week. Lady L will talk about who's on the show and tell this week and what they shared. JP's workshop, in addition to JP's product pick of the week, we'll be going over that, as well as a Make Code Minute. We have some time travel, which is news and more from the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers, and stuff that's going on. We have some help wanted from the jobs board, jobs.adafruit.com, the place where you can post your skills and get a cool job. Or if you're a company and you want to find someone in this wonderful community, you can post your job there, and Lady Ada and I personally approve it, so there's no spam or weird stuff, and it's all free.
Great.
Some Python and hardware news. We'll go over what's going on in the world of Python and hardware. Some made in New York City factory footage, some 3D printing. We have everyone's favorite segment, DigiKey and Adafruit present Eye on NPI. This week we have a special new product from TE. We have some new products. We have some top secret. We're going to answer your questions. We do all that and more on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. Put your questions there at the end. Join all 26,000 of us, and we will answer all of them. And all that and more tonight on Ask an Engineer.
Yay!
Okay, so first up, let's go over what's happening.
Yeah.
We're shipping smart and safe. As a reminder, go to adafruit.com/opensafely. We publish our safety protocols. Everything inside Adafruit is safe, sterilized. We all have masks. We all have gloves. We've been operating in New York City.
We go in every
from
night
the beginning
safely,
and our team has been safe. And if you ever want to see those protocols, you can see those. We do surface testing every single month. We swab down all of Adafruit. We send it off to a lab. We see if there's any COVID alive or dead in our facility. Inside Adafruit, there is none. And even if there was, that's good to know, right? So take a look at it. And we wanted to just reassure everyone, we're still doing okay. We're hanging in there. We're still able to get everything out to you. That said, if you order something and you order enough stuff, you get free things because we're those type of people.
Who doesn't love free stuff?
Everybody likes free stuff.
Okay.
What do we get?
Okay, $99 or more, you get a free Perma Proto half-size breadboard. $149 or more, you'll get one of these STEMMA QT boards from a selection of accelerometers, temperature sensors, potentiometers, STEMMA QT, MCP 221 drivers. We have a big range of like 30 different boards. You can see the list on adafruit.com/free. If you make an account, we'll give you a different one every time. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping. I will say that if you order UPS ground shipping now, it is not guaranteed to get you before Christmas. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe you want something to play with after Christmas Day.
Choose next day if you want it for sure now. Second day and 3 day is okay. Just keep in mind there's some weather stuff going on.
There's like a storm going on.
And we're in the middle of a pandemic, so things will slow down throughout the country.
Snowstorm and pandemic. And $299 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground Express all-in-one dev kit. Makes for a great stocking stuffer for anybody who wants to learn how to make electronics and code and make stuff glow with Make Code, Code.org, CS Discoveries, Arduino, CircuitPython, and more.
Okay, and
while you're shopping,
so if you haven't done this already, there's no reason not to do it. Make an Adafruit account, or if you already have one, go in, verify your email address, and then set up two-factor authentication. This is to remind all of us to have good security practices. I believe the entire government was just hacked. So it's a good idea to have two-factor authentication on your
Such a
accounts.
good idea.
Just generally speaking, it had nothing to do with the two. But do consider doing this because you get 20% off on your order. If you've already done it, you can't do it again, of course. But if you do want to save 20%, you can get all the free stuff and save some bucks.
That's right.
I put this in here just as another reminder. So this is on the actual USPS.com site right now. They say straight up, we might not be able to get your packages to you. So be really careful with considering a postal option just for now.
If you need it
Yeah.
by Christmas.
And the main reason I'm saying this is because sometimes people, they have other things going on in their life, and they have a lot of pressure. Things aren't going good, and they'll email our team and they'll be really mean because postal lost their package or there's a delay, or sometimes it goes to the postal service and it takes a few days for it to get scanned into their system. It'll move through the system, or sometimes it pops up and disappears and pops up and disappears. And I mostly just want everyone to chill out because you can't really change what's going on,
right.
but you can change yourself. So
There's
just know when
storms and a pandemic, and a lot of packages.
So when you choose postal, just know it might take a little bit longer. And here's the other thing: no matter what, if it's package lost, we're just going to replace it.
And yelling at us doesn't make
we're just
the
gonna
package get you any faster.
We're just going to replace it. So
Just chill, man.
Yeah. So anyways, next up. Every single week we do show and tell.
Yes.
People around the world show and share their projects. Lady Ada, who's on the show and tell this week, and what did they share?
I'm glad you asked. We kicked it off with Kevin Walseth from DigiKey, Thief River Falls. It's cold in Thief River Falls. It is one of the coldest places on earth. But now he knows how cold it is outside because he's working from home today. He made an LED matrix weather station to show the temperature and weather outside at Thief River Falls, Minnesota. A great AdaBox 16 project. If you haven't opened up your AdaBox 16, hey, now's a really good time to build some cool LED projects because it's snowing and windy and cold outside, and you can stay indoors and get glowy. Brent also showed off another good AdaBox 16 project. You can use Microsoft Expressive Pixels. It's a research project for Microsoft Research. For Windows 10, it's a free app. You install the UF2 onto your Matrix Portal board. It works with like any size from 16 by 32 up to 32 by 64 pixels. And you can make animations and save them and like create them and like share them with people. It's a great way of like making these cool LED matrix animations. It turns it into kind of a light bright that's easy for anybody to use. It's super fun. Windows 10 only, but if you have Windows 10, then pick it up from the App Store. Colin is living with a cat, and the cat wants to be fed a lot. It gets fed twice a day, but it wants more. And sometimes Colin forgets whether he fed the cat, so he made a little reminder clock.
Or the cat lies and consistently will pretend it didn't get fed.
That's right.
And you have to when we
And
had
they do that.
MOSFET would do that.
Yeah, they do that. They're like, oh, like the other person didn't feed me.
You totally forgot to feed me.
Right. So this is it's a wall clock. It shows the time, and when you press a button, it says when the cat was last fed, the day and the time. So there's no confusion about when this cat was fed. So you can believe the code, not the cat, until the cat learns to code, and then you're in trouble. Phil B's playing around with weird HDMI displays on a Raspberry Pi. Got some like funky large round displays. Got like bar displays. He's gonna write up a guide on how to use these unusual displays with the Raspberry Pi. There's a couple of tips and tricks. Jeff Epler did a project that is super fun. It's a all-in-one YouTube video player with audio output, and it uses the Braincraft hat, which has a little video screen, and it has really high-quality audio. So I had him make a lo-fi hip-hop beats to relax and study to player, and all it does is play the lo-fi beats to relax and study to YouTube channel with all the cool beats in the background. It makes for like, in my opinion, it's like a modern Buddha machine. It's a little box that all it would do is play like ambient tones for you. It's like that, but it's internet connected, and it has a cute little animation of a girl studying with her cat. So that's live on the Learning System. Check it out. Of course, you can put any YouTube station you want in there. It's a good standalone YouTube player, which I think is pretty cool. Erin Firepixie wanted to get into the holiday season, and she made a Hanukkah sweater that has Neopixels in it and a little capacitive touchpad when you touch the shamash on the Hanukkah menorah, all the other LEDs light up in order. So you can finally have a cool LED-powered Hanukkah menorah sweater. You still have a couple of days left in this holiday year, but you know what? You actually kind of wear this year round. Like, just show up at, like, you know, weddings, bar mitzvahs, and funerals with a sweater on. People are going to love it. So check that out coming soon. JP published a guide of Showtime's, an offline Showtime's event calendar display for Magtag. We'll eventually figure out a way to get the Magtag integrated with Google Calendar, but for now, if you have events that are occurring every week at the same time, like our live shows, you can have it just wake up right at that time, tell you that this event is happening, and go to sleep. So a very handy, like, standalone Showtime display. JP will be, he actually wasn't on Show and Tell because he's prepping for next week's AdaBox unboxing. So come by next week for all the JP you can fit on your screen. And then Pedro published their LED sign, woodworking, and Neopixel matrix. And they're also working on a dark saber build. A couple different techniques they're using to make this dark saber, as seen in the Mandalorian. It looks totally bitchin'. They got this, like, black RGB LED button. I don't know. It's going to look so sweet. So that's going to be in the new year, but they're kind of working on it now. It takes a long time to get these projects into good shape and ready to publish. Liz has been playing around with partial refresh on e-ink displays for Arduino. Timon came by and showed a very popular project, the Pinura.
We're going to talk about that tonight.
We're going to talk about it tonight, but it's basically an Arduino carrier for the Raspberry Pi CM4 breakout. And he's thinking about how to make it use CircuitPython as easily as you do on a Metro M4, which is, like, I'm thinking it's going to be, like, super sweet. He's really smart and he's got cleverness going on there. So I think we're going to see something nifty. And Mark finished his 300 pixel matrix and is doing animations. He got, like, an animated Christmas tree, and he ported Phil B's icicle lights to this matrix. Perfect timing. He's going to put it outside in his window, and people driving by will see his beautiful large LED matrix showing off some Christmas animations.
That's right.
Good work, Mark.
It's part of our Adafruit live series of shows. If you're watching this right now, it's Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. This is Ask an Engineer, and then we do Show and Tell every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., and these are the shows we do on Wednesday night. On Sunday, we do Desk of Lady Ada, and then this week on Desk of Lady Ada, we talked about a few things. We're working on these like 30-degree tilted headers.
Yeah.
For
the Pi 400.
The Pi 400 cobbler.
Yeah.
That's what we're kind of calling it. And then one of the segments we have is,
where in the world is that part I need? The Great Search with DigiKey.
The Great Search, where Lady Ada uses all of her engineering powers to find all things on the DigiKey side, and we explored USB-C connectors.
Yeah, it was USB Type A. It was to make a USB stick out of
sorry.
coil. But while I was there, I wanted to show off all these other cool, like the USB connector category on DigiKey is just like a gold mine of the coolest, weirdest things you didn't even know existed, like this combo USB-A socket / Type C socket. I mean, the images that you can mouse over are, like, so fun. I talked a little bit about how I used to thumb through the catalog. The catalog is now too big and too difficult to keep updated because so many new products come out. But instead, scan around the categories on DigiKey. You can learn a lot by just looking at the images.
Yeah. So that's every Sunday, and we usually do stuff from our mailbag and engineering stuff, that whatever Lady Ada is working on, and then we do a Great Search with DigiKey, where if you've ever gone to the DigiKey site and you're like, how do I find that thing I want? How do I get down from, like, 10,000 results to the one that I want? That's what we do. Is what we do.
Accordions.
All right, and JP has a product pick of the week show that we do every single week, and it's interesting because we broadcast live from inside a product page. I think eventually every product page in the future is going to have a live video feed
Amazon's
in some way.
doing, yeah,
like,
yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you look at like really advanced forms of shopping now, state of the art. Like, why wouldn't you be able to either see a live video and/or there'll probably be some type of VR thing, but that's always a little bit harder. But we broadcast live from inside the product page, and here's a recap from what the show was this week.
It's the AS7341. It is a multi-spectral light and color sensor. It's actually good for both emissive light, so trying to figure out the color of a bulb of some kind, a monitor. It's also useful for reflective light off of diffuse surfaces. If I take one of these bulbs and hold it over, you can see there the values that it's getting in the red. We can pop a green one on there, and again, you'll see the graph change. That is my product pick of the week. It is the AS7341 multispectral light and color sensor in Stemma QT format. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my Stemma QT wall of goodness, and that's going to do it for this week.
And JP's product pick of the week is over for this year. We're going to be starting up again in January. And so today he made a little collection, a collage of all the thumbnails.
I just think these are so funny.
And the thing is, we're basically just acknowledging that it's a flawed system that YouTube is with the algorithm. And they had told us a while ago, make videos like PewDiePie or like Lady Ada, put on a bikini and put that as your thumbnail, and that will convince.
But then if Naomi does it, then they block her video, so you can't win either way.
Our complaint was like, hey, you say publicly you want to promote women in STEM and technology, but then you tell us in person that the only way we can get more views is if we start wearing bikinis. So, anyways, so what we decided to do is just do insane thumbnails, and JP did a really good job with this.
They're very good.
So you'll see this start up again next week, and we're just going to keep making the thumbnails weirder
and weirder.
Yeah. So also coming up is JP's workshop. That'll also be on a hiatus until the beginning of 2021, and every single week during JP's workshop there is a Make Code Minute, and here is the latest one.
For the Make Code Minute today, I wanted to show you how to build a simple random tune generator, like a song generator, that makes simple little tunes, little melodies, out of just a limited number of notes that all sound good together. So what I've done is I've taken just a very simple subset of a pentatonic scale, so just 4 notes here, and I have set it up so that when I hit play on my Circuit Playground Express, here it is playing a little tune. It's never going to play the same thing twice because of randomness. And not only am I randomizing notes, but I've included one rest in there that it might happen upon. And I have 3 different note lengths that are essentially like a quarter note, a half note, and a whole note in length. The way this works, if you look inside of Make Code, it's fairly simple. What I have is a pair of arrays. The first array has this set of frequencies for my notes, and the second array has this set of durations for how many milliseconds each note can play. Then, when I am playing, and playing is keyed on by the button A for off and button B for on or true. So when I play the tune, here's what happens. Inside of this loop, I pick a random number from 0 to 4, and that can be any of those 5 notes that we can play. And then I set that variable called random note to be the notes getting the value from that array. So that notes array up here grabs whichever index from there that my random number is. I'm also setting my Neopixel to be red at that position, so you can see it kind of shows me which note we're playing, 0 being the rest when there's no sound. And then we play a tone at the random note value, whatever that was, whatever that frequency was, for a duration that's based on grabbing a random number from this little set of 3 possible timings. So that means it sort of fits within a sort of mode of music that we're used to, and it isn't just sort of random lengths and random pitches. And then I turn off the Neopixel. So that is how you can make a little random tune generator inside of Make Code for the Circuit Playground Express. And that is your Make Code Minute.
Okay, and then also this week we launched episode 3, Stay Cozy and Connected, with Natalie and Diane. These are folks that I've worked with for years. They're in the community and they're excellent STEM educators, and we do a new video series. So check
incredibly
out,
creative.
Yeah, check out episode 3 that just launched as well. All right, time travel. World of makers, hackers, artists, engineers. What's going on this week? I'll tell you what's going on. The first
History
person
being made.
in the United States got a shot here in New York City. So we've got vaccines going on here.
Yes.
So here in New York, we have some vaccines, and we are all starting that process of vaccine education. So there is a lot of reasons to mistrust the government.
we get it.
Because
They're lying assholes.
Because today, emails are starting to leak. There's a leak. There's a change of administrations. It's like, hey, just infect everybody. That's our strategy.
Yeah.
Which was no strategy. So I understand why people would be apprehensive. They'd be worried. And so one of the things that we're seeing is a really big public education start. I'm personally concerned that the type of folks that would be divisive about wearing a mask are going to be divisive about getting a vaccine, and unless a lot of people get vaccines don't work.
Yeah.
So
Or they don't protect some of the people who can't be vaccinated, for
Yeah.
example. Or, the vaccine is, if it's 95% effective, that means 1 out of 20 people, it might not be as effective as it needs to be.
yeah, so we'll continue to do our role. Like, here's data, here's facts. If there's any side effects, like, so we're managing a team of over 100 plus people. If there's any side effects that the New York City Health Department, the New York State Health Department says, like, hey, watch out for.
Yeah.
So we're constantly doing that. Here's a fact sheet FAQ. nyc.gov/vaccine just came out today. And so we are by no means saying go get a vaccine no matter what.
You
Don't
can't
ask
right now
questions.
anyways.
You couldn't anyways. But a lot of our team members have relatives that are frontline responders. There's people that we're close to and know that their family members are getting vaccinated because they're healthcare workers.
Yeah.
So today, right before we got on air, it was the most deaths in this entire pandemic. 3,400 people died in one day. So there isn't, a magic wand, and there isn't anything, but this is pretty close. We can start to get to a point where this is a manageable situation. Right now, you can't do contract tracing. You can't. It is uncontrolled spread.
And people are trying to get it even if they're careful. I mean, it's like you only have to slip up once.
Yeah, so we're a member of the North American Manufacturers Association, and the CEO's dad died, and he said, hi, everybody, like, my dad just passed away. He was healthy. He did all the precautions, no comorbidities. He had lots of years left, and now he's dead. He died alone in the hospital. And it's sad. It's tragic.
Yeah.
And until we manufacture more vaccines, until we distribute more vaccines, we can just wear masks, we can stay distant, we can sanitize, and please, by all means, do not do gatherings.
I know, it's really tragic. We still hear people who are like,
yeah, if you follow,
I only went to one event, one party, one
and
birthday. It was an important birthday, and it's like, I know it was important.
The maker
but-
community is pretty small, like, as far as, like, folks have been around forever. And we're seeing friends tweeting publicly. They're trying to say, like, hey, this could happen too. They're like, hey, my brother had a birthday party and family just came over just for a minute. They didn't was a big deal. Everybody got it. So just stick to it just a little bit longer. You don't want to get this at the very end. There's a lot of therapeutics. There's a lot of therapeutics. So that's what we're doing for our team, is giving them all the information. As a company, we don't mandate anything for our employees. Like, we said, hey, like, it's a good idea to get a flu shot. Here's all the information. We don't even mandate COVID testing, but we've given everyone so much information. Pretty much all of our team gets a COVID test every month.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, the right approach. And a lot of times when we do this segment, it's for other people that are working at companies or other people that are running companies, even our competitors. Go to adafruit.com/opensafely. Use that as a playbook. It works. We were in the worst of this back in March and April, and now New York is doing good compared to the other states. But, like, good right now is like, yay, only 5% infected. That's not good. Just about 100 people died today in New York, and then 3,400 people in the country. So we've got a shot now, literally, of beating this. We just have to stick to some things that we know that work. And even after you get the vaccine, you have to wear a mask for a bit anyways. So expect an amazing summer, booming economy, all sorts of fun stuff that you want to do.
Concerts, events, parties.
The faster we take good care of each other now, the faster we get to that later. So that's our public service announcement and part of the news. And thank you, Sandra, the nurse in New York, who was the first one in the U.S. to get it, didn't even flinch. Kind of amazing. I would flinch a little bit if I got it on camera. I'd be like, eh. Anyways, next up, SoundCloud.com/Adafruit is where we store all of our music. And someone on YouTube, super nice, they're just like, hey, I love the latest songs that you got. Are you going to put those on SoundCloud? And we're like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. We're going to do that. So we did. So go to SoundCloud.com/Adafruit and get all the latest tunes that we've made, and you can use them for stuff. That's what we do. All right, other things. We have 2 short videos. We have our Open Weather project, and we also have the Matrix Portal project. Okay, lady, what is this?
Hey, we're playing with the Open Weather API on the Magtag. So this 2.9-inch diagonal screen that can do grayscale is perfect for a daily weather update. So here's some code that Carter wrote, and he's going to be writing up a guide this week that goes to Open Weather Map and gets the weather for the day and then the rest of the week for a latitude and longitude. We're going to update it to use a city instead. And then it displays it with these gorgeous little graphics. It'll update once every night, basically like around midnight. And then it'll deep sleep in between, so it'll last many weeks on one battery charge. So it's a great project to put on your fridge, and then you can check the weather and the forecast throughout the week.
Okay, lady, what is this?
Oh, say, can you see all these wonderful pixels? I'm trying out the Matrix Portal with a 32 by 64 matrix with the Microsoft Expressive Pixels app. This is a really cool Windows 10 app that Microsoft Research wrote that lets you really easily design and upload animations to your Matrix Portal. You can even save them on the onboard flash. And we've got a guide with everything you need to know on how to get it working with the Matrix Portal. So check it out. Brent just published it. It's a great way to make your Matrix Portal shine and be patriotic.
All right, next up, Help Wanted, and this is a twofer. So we're doing, we're going to do 2 in 1 in this.
Okay.
So we have jobs.adafruit.com, and on jobs.adafruit.com, I saw that the Python Foundation is hiring for a really cool role. So I work with Betsy over at the Python Foundation. Betsy's going to be retiring. If you've done anything in the Python world, you probably know Betsy. So they are looking for a director of resource development. You can read the job over on python.org, or you can go to jobs.adafruit.com. You can apply through either way. And if you want to be part of, I think, the biggest, best community in computer programming, diverse, cool group of people doing stuff from data sciences to educational electronics like Adafruit, that is the place to be. And Python, right now, if you look at pretty much any metric of what programming languages are important for careers or what they're learning in schools, it's Python. Python is either first or second place now, and it's going to be that way for a while. And it's our language of choice. And if you want to not only be part of that community on the coding side, maybe you don't even code. Maybe you just like this idea that people can learn and share and do open source together. There's a cool role that's waiting for you. So the other part of Help Wanted is we're asking for your help. So python.org, they're trying to raise $60,000, and they got 15 days to go. And they're up to 43K. That's pretty good. It's not there yet, but one of the reasons they have to raise money is because Python does one big event during the year. It's PyCon. That basically went away in 2020, and it's going to be virtual in 2021. So their biggest source of funding, what they use to teach workshops around the world, to get all the package managers working on all these servers around the world, to do all these learning workshops, to do grants around the world for diverse education efforts. That's where that goes. They're only asking for 60K. They're up to 43K, and I'm going to make it easy for you. Just take out your phone right now, and once you take out your phone, just point the camera at this QR code, and when you do that, I'm going to do this right now too. It says openpython.org, my little browser here. I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And I'm doing a show right now, so I'm going to bookmark this. I'm going to come back to it, but you can do that too. And
you can donate $5.
Just donate like $5 and say Adafruit sent you. So
Dude, Python is so useful and so free, and all the stuff comes with it. It's a great language. It's a great community. If you just give $5 or $10.
So we donated on Giving Tuesday. We just donated recently. We're going to do more for them, but we want to ask our community as well. We're thinking about maybe we should sell some Adafruit stuff, and a portion of the proceeds goes to the Python Foundation. Now, so that's one way to do it. but why don't you just do it directly? And that's what we're going to do, is just like encourage people to just give directly. That's the best way. It's easiest. There's no overhead. There's no accounting fees. There's no credit card charges that we have to pay, then they have to pay, and then everyone has to pay. So take out your phone, point it at this, and save it for later if you're watching the show. But please, this is one of the few things we're going to ask everyone to do this year. Help them get to 60K. They're up to 43K right now.
They're so close.
Tonight, if everyone watching the show just right now gave like $5, it would get them to the next little, tier.
And that money gets used to do stuff like support Python packaging systems, to fix bugs, to run their website. I mean, it's a very lean operation, and they don't need a lot. But for the value that folks and companies are getting out of Python, I think you can spare a couple dollars.
Okay, so that is what we're asking you to do.
Thank you.
Take your phone out, store it, save it, bookmark it, send it to a friend. Just do $5. If they were like 43,553, let's try to at least get it up to like 44,000, 45,000 before the end of the show. Let's try.
Okay.
And we'll be running promotions and more throughout the next 15 days. All right, next up, Lady Ada, you had a guest post over on raspberrypi.org about the machine learning products we have, Braincraft Hat, and then the bonnet. And then today, big news, the Braincraft Hat got Best Hardware of 2020 by Tom's Hardware.
Oh, yay. I love this little hat. When we were doing a machine learning project, what's funny is this hat got delayed. It was supposed to come out in March, and then shit happened, and then got delayed a couple months. But we did get it out during, lockdowns and pandemic times. I was still working on hardware. And it's a wonderful little hat that goes perfect on a Raspberry Pi 4 and allows you to build all sorts of projects that have AV interactivity. Like we built that lo-fi radio player. It has a display for displaying video output that is handy when you're doing machine learning. You want to see what's the machine learning doing, what's it seeing. You can plug in a camera into your Raspberry Pi and then run TensorFlow Lite. You can do MobileNet, object recognition. You can do voice assistant recognition. There's 2 microphones and 2 speakers you can plug into it, or a headphone. It's just an all-in-one. It kind of has a little bit of everything, but I wanted to make it really easy for people to make kind of complicated machine learning projects. So you're going to see more projects using the hat. We're kind of getting into the groove, getting it started. We did a lot of rework of our tutorials to make it as easy as possible to install, because it's quite a beast, but more coming soon. So machine learning,
Okay.
crafting brains, coming soon.
It's time for some Python on hardware.
Blinka, blinka, blinka.
Code Plus community. We are still chipping away at getting 6 out, and 6.1 is on the way next. So please, if you have your boards, go to circuitpython.org/downloads and update to the latest and greatest. Or if you want to try any of the betas or alphas or super new, you can do that there. And this week, here's some stuff that's going on. This is kind of big deal. Sony is using CircuitPython. They have a presence board, and CircuitPython's running on it, and they just published a guide. And so welcome to the fold.
Yay, it's presents.
Yeah. Speaking of Python, they have a diversity inclusion workgroup. See, this is the reason you should support them. Cool job that we posted up tonight. And then we have the fundraiser. And what does the fundraiser do? Things like this. Earlier on our show and tell, and then during the recap, Lady Ada talked about the Peora.
I misspelled it.
Yeah. Peora. And it's a carrier board for a Raspberry Pi compute module, and the goal is to get it to as easy to use as something like a Feather. So this is
cool.
it.
It's like an M2 connector on the bottom.
Yeah, it has everything you want.
Jam-packed.
And if these are available, we'll stock them, of course. That's our plan. Okay, next up. Scott has deep dive this week, and then next week off, and I think that's the last one for the year, is this week. We have our regular things that we go over each week, which is here's the Explore section of our site with our gift guides, our secured discount code that you can do.
There's some fun projects too.
Yeah, and then again, a reminder, we put this in the newsletter, is the jobs that we just talked about. And then the projects that are going on. folks are using all sorts of Adafruit stuff to make things like retro consoles.
Yeah, chiptune players, CNCs,
Yeah,
glowing orbs.
I like this orb because it reminded me of Capsella.
Yeah, I
But
did
it was
love
like
Capsella,
it was like if Capsella still continued on, it would
Yeah.
eventually have Neopixels and you'd like code with it. Yeah, anyways. All
Little
right.
motor tester. This is
Yeah,
like
this is some PWM stuff with some motors.
holiday.
Yeah, there's lots of holiday projects and more. Here is the Magtag plus Neopixel project. Seen it on the show and tell. Now it's part of this. A really nice holiday diorama with CircuitPython and Circuit Playground. And then here is a Adafruit Matrix Portal display to read a bunch of numbers.
And display them in a weird way.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that, but go for it.
CircuitPython IoT Trivia, OLED version, diffused acrylic stand, and you could check out more
Learning
news.
Python tutorials. This is cool. This is a full color printed badge. You put that in there. I like that.
Yeah, and if you want to just keep track of like what's happening with the latest and greatest hardware, some ESP32 stuff, S2, some of the new Learn guides. We have what's the fresh produce. Folks who are Disney fans or Epcot fans, you may remember this dragon. It's Figment the Dragon refrigerator magnet.
Good call out there.
That's right.
This Figment Dragon. You know your dragons.
That's right. And they sung the song Imagination inside of the AT&T World Ball ride.
Is this like an important part of your childhood or something?
Yeah. And then we keep track of what's going on with the team, and then some upcoming events. One is Morris speaking at LinuxConf AU. We're talking about Linux and CircuitPython. Open Hardware and PyCon is coming up. All that and more. And that
Newsletter.
is the Python and hardware news for this week. There
I
is
read it
a
every
lot
week.
going on out there.
Okay.
And just one other little thing I want to show. This is the Pyora playing Neopixels via CircuitPython.
Or dot
as well.
stars. Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Blinka blinka.
Okay.
Next up.
All right. Some open source hardware news. Speaking of conferences and more, the Open Hardware Summit will be virtual again next year. And sponsorships are open, and we already sponsored. So this is our PayPal receipt. We've sponsored. We will see you there virtually in April. April 9th.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah,
Virtually.
April 9th. I was trying to remember the date. So check it out, and if you're thinking about joining or sponsoring, now would be a good time to do it. All right. Okay, Lady Ada, we are an open source hardware company.
All right, we have like a bazillion guys. This
We
week.
do. I'm going to do the guides a little bit different this week
How you wanna do
because
it?
it's going to. We have so many guides.
You couldn't fit them.
I think we can do it this way.
How do you want to do it?
Well, why don't you just start at
Okay, start from the top.
no,
from-
start with this one
Is that the bottom one?
This is the only. This one is the one.
Okay, that was the last. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I wrote up the COVID tracking project IoT display. This is a really. Sorry, wait, I lost it. Okay, it's a good demonstration of deep sleep, and we've had it up on our fridge. It's a bit morbid, so it's not for everybody. But if you do want to keep track of numbers, you can of course customize it as well for your state. This is showing the national numbers. Also shows how to show a QR code. Okay, the next up, you want to scroll up
Yeah.
to the next two. Next two got from Brent, the Expressive Pixels for Adafruit Matrix Portal. There's this really incredibly powerful tool from Microsoft Research for making LED matrix animation displays, and it works wonderfully with the Matrix Portal. It's definitely fast enough. You just plug it in, and over USB all over this app, it will let you make custom animations, download animations. Like, it's a really easy way to convert GIFs into a file format and then save it. And you can use the buttons on the Matrix Portal as well to animate the displays and change the animation. So it's like, and there's like a light bright like painting mode. It's like really cool. So just drag the UF2 onto your Matrix Portal to try it out. We have an image for 32 by 64 pixels. So it's very easy to get started. Jeff Epler wanted to try making a feather tester for some reason at home, so he made a 3D printed test jig. It's kind of fun. You can cosplay as Adafruit, I guess. Next up, we've got keep going. We've got the Adabox 17 guide. The mystery will be revealed next week on the unboxing. Don't click on that unless you want to know what it is before the unboxing next week, Christmas Eve. We are still wrapping up the very last of the Adabox orders. If you haven't gotten it, I think tomorrow or the next day will be the last day of shipping. So let support know if you haven't gotten a shipping notice yet, but it's pending weather. We should be wrapping up this week. We've got a Magtag daily weather forecast display. This is kind of the project everybody wants. We showed that little video. It shows you the daily weather every night. It gets the weather for the day as well as for the next 5 days, so you kind of get an idea of what your week and weekend is looking like. And then it goes to sleep, so it can last for many weeks on your fridge. Very handy while you're getting your milk for the coffee in the morning to see whether it's going to be raining today. Likewise, from Phil B, we found a really easy way to get Google Sheets data into JSON format just by sharing it. You don't even have to create like any authentication stuff. You just share the JSON to anybody who can read the URL, and then you can just put that into your Magtag, and it will display what's in the spreadsheet, which is kind of nifty. It's a way to do collaborative editing of what's showing up on the ink display. So you can do to-do lists. You can do to-do lists, or he's got a demo of a naughty and nice list. So 2 Magtags synchronizing data together. New product, the EMC 2101 fan controller and temperature sensor by Brian. This is a all-in-one tachometer and PWM controller for a PC fan. We're going to show the demo in new products. Okay, now you can scroll up. Try to get through this. We've got the Wi-Fi controlled Neopixel matrix LED sign. I'll show a video for that. You can now make LED matrices and scroll text on them in CircuitPython. Colin's cat likes to trick him into thinking that she has not been fed, but now with this clock that has a time stamping feature, Colin knows when the cat's already been fed and doesn't double feed the cat, much to the cat's chagrin. Melissa wrote a guide on how to make Magtag projects. So if you've seen all these projects, you're like, I want to make my own e-ink display project in CircuitPython. This guide will take you through all the details and API and explanation and example code for getting buttons and Neopixels and buzzers and stuff displaying on the e-ink display. Jeff made that lo-fi hip-hop Raspberry Pi radio. All it does is open up a YouTube video in kiosk mode, but it sounds great, and it's a lovely little standalone player. He is now an addict of lo-fi hip-hop radio, which is my plan. JP, for his last show, he did a weekly Showtime event notifier. This is an offline sort of event display. Instead of using a Google Calendar or an iCal, it just has a JSON file on the Magtag itself that whenever the time occurs, it checks what time it is, and then when the event is about to occur, it'll beep and display the icon so you know what events are coming up next. So it's a great event notifier when you have things that happen every single week at the same time, like your favorite TV show or an errand you have to run or like a meetup that you're going to go to. So check that out. It also has some beautiful graphics and text overlays. And finally, the last new guide. We had a lot this week. Last new guide from Dylan. This is a project that Phil and I wanted to do a while ago, and we didn't get to because we didn't have enough RAM for this gigantic JSON file. But now that we have the ESP32S2, we can do projects with massive files like the Google Graveyard. Killed by Google is a JSON feed that is updated pretty much daily with products and projects that Google has killed. So whether it's Google Reader or Google Answer or OrCut or any of the other hundreds of projects.
Today they killed off a $400 12-pound speaker.
Or your favorite $400 12-pound speaker that got killed off. You can now commemorate it, and it even plays a little funeral dirge every time it displays a new one. I think it runs once an hour, displays a new one. It'll run. Basically, eventually, it'll catch up. Google will cancel so many projects that you'll never repeat them. Yeah. I think. So I like it. Pretty much since they killed up Google Reader, I have had no sympathy and much tragedy in my life. Okay, right. That was it.
Okay, that's the open source guides and more.
A
I think
lot.
it was a record week.
It
this
was
week.
record.
All right, some main New York City factory footage. Let's play it. And it wouldn't be main New York City factory footage unless we showed what's going across the street. This is where all that Disney Plus money's going.
I know.
This is the Disney building across the street from Adafruit.
Yes, this is like, in ancient times they would build ziggurats, or they would have like pyramids for the tomb of the leader. This is where they're going to bury Baby Yoda.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. With 5,000 Disney Imagineers.
All right.
Yeah.
That's where it's happening.
Yep. Tragic.
Okay. 3D printing. All right, we're going to do two videos back to back. The first one is the sign project that Pedro just did, and then we have a speed up, which is a Krampus bell.
Hey, what's up, folks? In this project, we're making an IoT sign with Neopixels and CircuitPython. We made a wooden sign with LED strips that can display scrolling text from Adafruit I/O. You can create a dashboard and update the text with your mobile device. With the color picker, you can change the color of the text so you can easily customize your message. The Pixel Framebuff library for CircuitPython makes it easy to create custom LED matrices using Neopixels. The Metro ESP32S2 has built-in Wi-Fi and CircuitPython support. It's housed in a 3D printed enclosure and secured to the wooden frame. The CircuitPython libraries from Adafruit make IoT projects like this really easy to get up and running. The demo code uses the Adafruit I/O library to get the text and color data from the feeds we set up in our dashboard. It's a nice example for displaying scrolling text on Neopixels using data from Adafruit I/O. We made this sign in Fusion 360 and created a parametric design that's pretty easy to put together. The LED strip holders are designed with user parameters so we can quickly change and update the dimensions. To make the sign, we cut a sheet of wood to make a panel for holding the LED strips. You can get a full list of plans and step-by-step instructions from our Learn Guide. Links are in the description. We used a miter saw to cut down these boards to make a frame for the panel. To secure the boards together, we used basic butt joints and a nail gun. We designed and 3D printed brackets so the frame can easily be placed over the panel. The brackets are secured to the frame using screws, and the LED panel fits over them nicely. The LED panel hangs over the leg frame with additional mounting brackets. When using a power drill, pilot holes should be made to ensure the screws are driven in straight. The legs are fitted into the bottom base, and the LED panel hangs over the frame of the legs. The sign is modular, so it can be stored away without taking up too much space. These 3D printed holders are chained together and secured to the panel with screws. The LED strips are press fitted through the clips and have a tight fit so they're kept nice and straight. This 12x12 grid of Neopixels is arranged with the data flowing in a zigzag pattern. The LED strips are soldered together using silicone wires and insulated with heat shrink tubing. With the frame fitted over the panel, the wiring is neatly covered up and looks really nice while being discreet. We had a lot of fun working on this project and hope it inspires you to check out CircuitPython. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and we hope you make an awesome new year.
Okay, and 3D Hangouts over for this year. They'll be back in a couple weeks. Don't forget to check out the recap and more that we'll be posting
You got
before
a
the end
full
of the year.
years with the project. If you're like, oh, I don't want to miss out, go back and watch some old videos or like build some of them. Believe me, you'll stay busy for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you can build any of these things start to finish because they show you how.
That's right.
All right, next up,
Okay.
DigiKey and Adafruit present. This week's Ion MPI is from TE Lady Ada.
TE is back. They've been on I9PI a couple times, but they keep coming up with interesting new products, and so they get the NPI prize.
They keep making new products. We'll keep making NPI.
That's right.
videos.
That's cool. Okay, so this week I've actually noticed a bunch of companies that do sensors are all sort of releasing sensor revisions around now. Don't know why. Maybe just kind of the end of the year they want to get those versions out. But this week's new product is the HTU 31D and 31V. These are temperature and humidity sensors from TE. They've got excellent temperature humidity sensors. In fact, you might be thinking, don't you already have a breakout for that HTU 31? No, you're thinking of the HTU 21, which is still one of my favorite temperature and humidity sensors. Really easy to use, very reliable. It's got that great I2C interface. It's very simple. But complete, and it's a couple of years old now. It's a couple of years old, and I think they wanted to revise it, update it, make it a little bit better. The HTU 21, I think, had maybe half a degree of accuracy and 3% or 4% humidity accuracy, and the HTU 31 improves that. It's got 0.2 degrees centigrade Celsius accuracy for temperature, and for humidity, it's about 2%. So a nice big improvement there. The pinout is not the same. The package is the same, but the pinout's a little bit different. As you can see here, it still has I2C, as you would expect, but it also adds a reset pin, and you also get an I2C address selection pin. So that's good. You can alternate between, I think, 41 and 42 are the two I2C addresses, and there's a hard reset, which I always like to have. It's nice to be able to hard reset a sensor along with a microcontroller in case it gets into an unusual state. There's also a software reset. Speaking of, what I really like about these sensors is how they can do pretty much everything you want in a temperature and humidity sensor, and they don't have like a ton of extra stuff to confuse you. It's pretty straightforward. They have soft reset. You can turn the heater on, turn the heater off, which is great for reducing power, but also to get any moisture off of the sensor. So you're reading the actual air or humidity, not like the humidity on the sensor. You know, if there's a bit of water on there. You can read the relative humidity as well as the temperature and humidity. There's a diagnostic result that gives you about, a couple bits of information about, how the device is doing. And there's a unique, I think it's 32-bit or 24-bit serial number. So, kind of all the nice things that you want. And there's also a CRC capability. So when you send and receive commands, there will be a cyclic redundancy check to make sure that the data isn't being corrupted. You're getting valid temperature and humidity data. I think that's important, especially for people who want to use this for medical uses where they want to control home automation or environmental stuff. You don't want to accidentally turn on the sprinkler. It turns out that there was a bit flipped or a loose wire that made you think that it was very dry, but actually wasn't. So a nice, compact, but efficient and complete command set. We were able to get it up and running in Arduino. We wrote a library a couple weeks ago, and it was up and running in an hour or two. It was very easy to implement in Arduino, and you can definitely port it to your favorite microcontroller quite easily as well. So check out our library if you want some Arduino code to try with this sensor. There's also another version. I do like the HTU31D, that's for digital, I2C interface, but they also have a V version for voltage. And I thought this was kind of interesting because it's not that common that you see sensors these days with ratiometric analog voltage output. I mean, it's really cool. And I remember, the first accelerometers, like the ADXL335, that came with ratiometric output a long time ago. And then everyone sort of went over to SPI or I2C. So I really like that TE is bringing back ratiometric analog voltage outputs. Basically you can power it with 3 to 5 volts. And then whatever that power voltage is, that's the high end of the analog voltage output. So as long as your analog reference is tied to the same power pin, you'll always get the accuracy and precision that your microcontroller analog digital input will provide. Why is this handy? Well, first off, maybe you really want a lot of these, and you don't want them to share on I2C. Maybe you don't want the I2C traffic. Maybe you want to have this in a circuit that doesn't have a microcontroller as the feedback loop. You want to have a more a faster, more reliable, less complicated loop, and you just want that analog voltage with a potentiometer to set the trigger point, and maybe some hysteresis with the Schmidt trigger, and then you could use the analog output in your circuit or feedback loop. What is it really good for? I don't know exactly, but I think it's pretty cool that they have a version with analog voltage out. So I'm going to check that out. And here's what it looks like. They give you a little graph showing it. It's pretty linear. At the very beginning, at the very end, it gets a little bit unlinear, so you might do a little bit of math. But for the most part, voltage input, temperature output. Okay, so you can get these. They come in a couple different packages. There's a reel of 150, and it says 150 in the part number. And then there's a reel of 400. So you're wondering what's the difference between the 150 and 400? It's just how many are in a reel. The component is the exact same. You can pick it up from DigiKey. You can search for HTU31D, or it's got this longer part number. 223.101.420.4800ND, or the short URL digikey.com/short URL Z1HJHJ. Which is pretty easy to remember. They don't yet have a version with the Teflon covering on it, which they did for the HTU21D. I'm hoping that comes out soon. It was really one of my favorite things about the HTU21D. So, but so far I'm really liking it. It's extremely fast, and it's very stable. So I think they did a good job kind of leapfrogging. They haven't updated the sensor in a bit, but when they did an excellent job. So you want to go to the overhead, and I'll show the demo. I've got the sensor here. I've got it hooked up to my feather, and I've got an OLED just showing the temperature and humidity. It's not very humid here, to be honest. Temperature is nice and comfy, though, nice room temperature. And then if I breathe on the sensor, which is right here, you'll see how fast and responsive it is. It's already, goes up to 60 and then quickly drops down. So I definitely like how responsive the humidity sensor is. It's very quick and is very stable. Once it settles, within 1%, you're going to keep that precision. The accuracy is, 2% plus or minus, but the precision is nice and stable, which I really like.
All right, and they have a 1-minute video, and we're gonna play it. It's actually pretty chill. It's just like musical.
It's super chill.
Yeah, so enjoy. All right, that was Eye on MPI for the week.
Okay.
All right, ready to do this?
Rolling right into it. It's the new. What?
It's funny.
No, I'm a good engineer. I'm not a very good singer.
Yeah, you're a good singer.
I'm not a good singer.
All right, we have a couple coming
But
soon.
you have to listen to me. You're stuck here with me.
We have a couple coming soon products.
Okay.
Let's kick it off.
Okay, so from High Five, this is like really cool because the BBC worked on the microbit, and then like High Five went to them and was like, well, let's do a version that's like a microbit compatible thing, but it looks like a gigantic like mitten, and
Yeah, it's
like
from Tinker.
it has Neopixels on the front. So it's got like, I don't know, like it looks like 40 or 50 Neopixels on the front. It's got 2 buttons, and on the back it's got a High Five. It's a RISC-V chip, and it's like a USB to serial converter, so you can program the chip. And then it's also got this ESP32 as a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth co-processor. So this thing is like jamming.
Because why not?
I love this thing. It's got like so much stuff going on. It's got all the sensors you expect, accelerometer and magnetometer, and I think it's got a light sensor on the front. So this is jam-packed. This is kind of the first kind of entry-level learning how to use RISC-V device I've seen. So they're going to have MicroPython ported for it, which is awesome. They also have some sort of block programming system set up. I don't have one of these yet. This is coming soon, so you can sign
there's
up.
2 versions. One is just this standalone,
Bear thing.
and then we have the Doctor Who version, because if it's BBC, it's
Doctor Who.
It's Doctor Who.
So you get a case.
Yeah, the Doctor Who one comes with more stuff.
Yeah, you get a case. It's got the logo. It looks pretty cool, kind of goth. And it also comes with a speaker kit, so you can play audio, beeps, and boops. And of course, it has that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in. You can program it with MicroPython. I don't know. This is like super cool. I love this like proliferation of cool microbit compatibles. And of course, I'm always digging using an ESP32 as a coprocessor.
Yeah, and I think since Doctor Who is now a female Doctor Who, I think this is a good way to have more people getting this as a gift for maybe a daughter or a sister, because it has someone who they can imagine themselves being, or someone they already are fans of. So I think this is kind of good.
Nifty.
This is
All right,
good.
so it's coming soon. So sign up. As soon as we get some, we'll let you know.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Also coming soon, we've got this cool LED face-changing mask that Lumen Couture worked on. And
Yeah, I want to be clear. These are directly from her
yes.
because there's lots of places and lots of things. I know lots of people see her stuff and like use her photos online and stuff like that. But these are real. We actually reached out and said, hey, we would like to stock these.
So we got a sample, and then
Yeah.
of course I forgot to put the battery. I recharged the batteries and put
Oh,
them
yeah?
back in. So I'm going to do that now. We're going to pretend like that didn't happen. Okay, so now
Yeah, and you can do different modes. You want me to? I'll just do this. Real
demo
quick.
on me. So I can see
Yeah.
through this.
Yeah.
I can see you. I can see the
Yeah, and
screen.
also has this little switchy.
There's like a
hand
sensor
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, anyways,
But
you-
there's like, it comes with like hundreds of different like weird, cool animation faces, and of course you can make your own weird animation faces and upload
yeah,
them.
you can use an app, and you can draw your own faces, and you can also just go through. There's a ton of these.
It's basically a HUD 75 LED matrix that's like kind of curved and flexible, and it has 2 slots in it that you can see out of. So,
Yeah.
you know, it will open up inside. Inside the microcontroller is like this undocumented Cortex M4 chip, and it doesn't have like native USB. But we'll try to get the Bluetooth protocol for this, and then you can maybe program it from a desktop computer.
Yeah, and we have a little video. It's about a minute from Lumen Couture.
Okay, take it away.
What if your mask could let you be anyone you wanted? Hello and welcome to yet another mask video. I swear before 2020 I never even thought about masks, but here we are. Today I have an entirely different type of mask. It's not a COVID mask, but as you can see it allows you to change your face and be anyone you want. The mask uses the same panels that I've been using since last year on my Matrix line of hoodies, skirts, and other outfits. The large panel is really cool, it responds fast, and it's lightweight and relatively inexpensive for how powerful it is. Similar to my other products in the Matrix line, you can program this mask with an app. All it took was having the manufacturer modify the panel to have eye sockets and then building the casing around it. The app comes with a bunch of presets, but one of the coolest parts is you can upload any image of a face. During the development of this, I've been weirding out everyone I know by answering Zoom calls as them. So they answer the call and they have their own face staring back at them. I am not going to have any friends by the time the pandemic is over. Similar to the mask I did back in April, this one can also display text, and also similar to that one, it has equalizer effects that respond to sound. I'm sure this will be really cool for events and DJs when we're actually out and at parties again.
Next up, tweezers.
Tweezers. Okay, well, that mask is really sweet. So, yeah, sign up and we have some on order from Lumen Couture. You can get them from the Adafruit shop. Okay, so next up, we've got the DT71 Smart Tweezers. This is from Miniware, and they just make like the coolest shit, to be honest. Like they've got their smart soldering station, they've got their smart power supply, but these tweezers I really like. I've always liked SMT tweezers because you have components, you can't read the part number, or there's no part number to be marked on them like a capacitor. You want to know what they are. So these are very elegant smart tweezers. So let me show them on the overhead because there's a lot going on here. So you've got the tweezer part here, and the tips are 2 kind of gold-plated connectors, and they go into the body of the tweezers, and one's marked like blue for negative and red for positive. And there's the battery inside of here, and then really an elegant spring mechanism, and then this is like the brains. To charge it, you would use this cable that adapts USB-C into the plug, but let's just use it. So you plug this in to here, and it boots up, tells you the version. You can, of course, change the firmware very easily. And then when you tap on the end, it goes into diode mode, DX, capacitive mode, CX, LX for inductor, FX for frequency, VX for voltage, so you can do live circuit, and then RX for resistance. So let me grab a resistor real fast, and then you can use it. And here's what's really cool is if I switch hands, so like I'm right-handed, so it says RX, but if I switch hands, it's smart, and it knows that I've changed hands, and it flips over the text, so it's always the
Those
right
are
way.
smart tweezers.
Very smart. So hold on, let me grab a resistor. Okay, so here I've got a little resistor, and I'm like, I can't even read the value. Maybe it doesn't even have the value printed on it, as it happens these days. However, when I grab it, it says 15K. So now I know the value. So this is a 15K resistor. I can also do it with capacitors. So I've got like my bin of capacitors, but let's say I don't know the capacitor value because I'm debugging something, reverse engineering something. So take out this 0.1.
That's handy just to do on a board.
Oh.
If you're doing reverse engineering.
Yes.
And you're just like, I'm just.
Well, it can't be powered if you're doing that.
Yeah,
it can't
no,
be in
it's doing
circuit. But if
unpowered,
you
yeah.
can you remove it. Oh yeah, and then don't forget to go into capacitive mode. You have to tap it to get into C. And it says 95 nanofarad, also known as about 0.1 microfarad. Don't have any inductors, but I can do an LED, last but not least. So let me grab LED. So I've got this 0805 LED here. What color is it? This is actually the thing that drives me crazy. I'm like, what color is this LED? I don't know. Grab it one way. If that doesn't work, turn it around. Wait, sorry, I have to be into diode mode. Great. Hold on. Diode mode. And now, come on. This way. Nope. Spin it around. There you go. Hey. Oh, man. The toughest part about these live demos is the part wants to flip away. There you go. So, it can test the LED and it'll tell me the forward voltage at, a very low voltage. It works with green and blue LEDs as well. I tried it. So
Cool.
far I've been using it for resistors, capacitors, and diodes. I think there's also an automatic mode where it'll like automatically detect what it is you're grabbing, but I like to put it in the mode itself. And then, the little top has a capacitive touch bit. So it's, they're not inexpensive, but these are like really gorgeous, amazing tools. They're smart. The smart screwdriver is one of my favorite screwdrivers. It like detects which way you're twisting your hand, and it's extremely high torque. And these are just really elegant and easy to use, and they feel great. We have like a large multimeter version of this, but this one is one I actually think you would put in your, your work toolbox and use all the time. It comes with extra tips. It comes with this like USB-C charging cable adapter, and it comes in a nice carry case with a padded holder.
For the gift, for the engineer who has everything.
Yeah, if you give this to an engineer, they will definitely say it's the best gift they got. No
Okay.
question.
All right, next up. This was coming soon, but now they came in.
That's right. We now have one of the Raspberry Pi compute modules. So this is the easiest and simplest one to use, of course. It's the Pi 4, and I think it has 1 gig of RAM and no Wi-Fi, and no MMC. So this is, the bare bones minimum one. But also, if you want to experiment with this Pi compute module, this is going to be like the least expensive, so least risky to possibly get damaged. They plug and play onto Hiroshi connectors. I think I brought I didn't bring a module home, but they're surprisingly small, right? They're only a couple inches on the side. We're going to have the ones that have the Wi-Fi module as well, but to get started, we got a couple hundred of these basic ones. So good, if you're making a design and you don't want to risk maybe frying your module, use one of these to start because they're only like $25.
All right, this was a coming soon. Now we have it.
This was a coming soon last week, and now it's live. This is the EMC 2101 fan controller. It has PWM output for fans as well as a tachometer to read the fan. And I even have a live demo. So,
demo.
Well, yeah, so let's show off on the live demo because it's actually easiest to explain on a live demo. So this is the breakout, and you communicate to it over I2C, so it's wired up to a Feather here, which has an OLED on top of it. And there's a built-in temperature sensor here. So if I put my finger on top of the chip, you'll see the temperature goes up a little bit, 26 degrees instead of 24. And the thing that's really nice about this is the tachometer input and the PWM output. So you can set the duty cycle of your fan. Instead of just having it like all on, all off, you can modulate it. And you can PWM at different frequencies as well, which is nice. So you can, for example, if you have an audio frequency, it might be annoying. You can hear the PWM as it vibrates the sensor through the fan. You can set it to a much lower frequency or a much higher one. And there's a tachometer input, so you can then read what the fan RPM is. And that's the part that's really hard and annoying to do in a microcontroller because it's like you have a timer that's constantly keeping track of ticks. So here I've got, besides just the temperature, it's got the RPM. So I have this, I think, at like a 80% duty cycle. Normally it would be 5,000 RPM. And if I do the thing that's always fun, and slow it down with your finger, you'll see the RPM it instantly updates the number, and I read it over I²C. So this is really handy if you want to do fan control and you want to make sure that your fan is running, because a lot of times, people do fan projects and they're like, oh, reading the tachometer is so hard. I'll just set the PWM and then I just hope that the fan does what it's supposed to. I'm not going to bother trying to figure out whether it's running. But fans can get stuck, right? Like something can stop it, and you'll want to know when the RPM is 0 because that could cause your project to overheat. So in such cases, having a feedback path is very handy, and that's what I like about this chip quite a lot. There's also DN and DP. You can connect an external diode-connected transistor as an external temperature sensor. Oftentimes chips have this actually built in, apparently. So you would wire this into the chip's built-in like core temperature sensor. It's a little diode-connected transistor. It does the math for you and just gives you the temperature in degrees C. So it's like an all-in-one fan controller. Very fun. I'm a big fan. And now we have them in the shop. You'll need also a power supply for your fan. That's the only thing that this board does not provide. So in this case, I'm powering the fan over USB 5 volts. But there's also 24 volt, 12 volt fan. We don't power the fan over the breakout. You provide that separately, and then the PWM input is 3 volts, plus or minus, like a PWM frequency with duty cycle settable, and that's what controls the fan. So you need a fan that has that PWM input and tachometer output, also known as kind of a standard 4-pin PC fan. So you'll see black, red, yellow or green, and blue. Standard PC fan. Those will work very well.
All right, and the star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada, our community, our team, and our customers, is
an NPR Gator breakout. So I thought this was a good idea because we have these plug and play STEMMA QT boards, and I like them a lot. And I wanted to update the NPR 121 because I've been updating all of our sensors. And this one I decided to update 2 ways. One, I'm going to update the basic breakout, but I also wanted to update it to have alligator-friendly pads. Of course, I forgot my alligator clips upstairs, but you can just imagine. You have alligator clips that you can connect onto these large pads very easily, and then connect that to your conductive material, whether it's fruit for making a banana piano, or copper tape, or conductive nylon, or metal, or spoons, or I will ever see you again.
Yeah, I wonder if I have any right.
I don't know, maybe it's like the one thing I forgot.
It's like 1 square foot.
I was so excited to get the mask on that I forgot. Oh, can you grab me the copper tape, maybe?
Got plenty of copper tape.
Show me the copper tape. So people are like, what do you want to connect those pads to? This copper tape works great. So we stock copper tape and copper material. So you can use this as your capacitive touch pads, and then connect it with an alligator clip for a no solder experience. And then, the NPR 121 just works really well. It is discontinued, but I'm still able to get a lot of these chips. They're not really discontinued. And there's also companies making pin-compatible versions, so I'm not too worried about it. You can even touch multiple pads at once. It's nice and smart. The IRQ LED, the IRQ has a little red LED so you can see when pads are touched. You can change the address to connect more than one, and then of course it's STEMMA QT compatible, so you just plug and play it with these quick
cool.
or STEMMA boards. So
It's a cool
I think
board.
you want to make like musical instruments or user interfaces that capacitive touch. I remember when I was in school, making a capacitive touch thing was like the biggest deal because there was no all-in-one chips that did it. You had to do it like by hand with a microcontroller, and it was a real pain. These chips, like, they do everything for you. They do the calibration on boot. They, slowly track when the humidity changes the capacitance of like the just PCB material. It's so easy now to make super fast capacitive touch interfaces. So
cool.
no solder, plug and play, alligator clippy. It's got that beautiful black and gold look.
Yeah, and since it's STEMMA QT, you can use this with your set of things you already use. Like
Pair this with a cutie pie, and now you've got a USB to capacitive touch.
Pretty
input.
cheap too.
Yeah, really easy.
And like a lot of these things are used in almost like, okay, we're going to use this in like a museum display, and like
Very common because it's actually, they last longer because there are people bashing buttons. The buttons die. Capacitive touch, they make a big stainless steel pad and that
Yeah,
lasts a lot
that'll
longer.
last forever. Okay, and that is new products.
Yay, new products.
All right, don't forget 20% off. Just secure your account, verify your email address, and then use two-factor authentication. You should do that anyways on all your accounts online. But we're just encouraging you, and we'll give you 20% off to do it.
Okay.
We're going to do a top secret. While we're getting the top secret
yeah.
shown, go over to adafruit.it/discord and join all 26,000 of us. We're going to answer your questions. And the top secret that we're going to show from the vault.
Yeah, the vault is taking a second here. Hold on. Okay, sorry.
It's top secret.
Okay, so I've got this
It's top secret, Joe.
new e-ink sample, and it's like these really like high contrast. Like it might be a little hard to tell, but like the white pixel color is like much whiter, and the black is much blacker. So you get this like ultra high contrast e-ink display. It looks great. Really looks like silk screened text and graphics. Anyways, so that's my.
That is the.
It's not out yet.
Yeah. One thing that Shepler posted up a picture of the hamburger. Remember Hamburger Helper?
Oh yeah, that's what.
That's
it looks
exactly what it looks
This
like.
totally looks like a hamburger. Yeah, I
Yeah.
knew. I like in
It's
my
just-
brain. I knew that.
Like that would be a cool team
This should
up.
have been like a McDonald's project.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat. Anyways, all right. So that's the top secret.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go over to questions.
Okay.
I have one lined up. It was from a while ago in the chat. It was a pretty long one, so I just saved it to
Okay.
text file here. You might want to take a look at this, Lydia, while I read it off.
Okay.
They want to measure temperature of some old pipes, old piece of equipment, 1.8 kT press, some materials between hot plates. These plates heated with this hot steam, and then they run with cold water. Would like to measure temperatures as they heat things, and it would help telling if things are clogged too.
Okay. So they basically they want to measure 150 to 200 Celsius temperature items. Okay. So yeah. I found the metal shoe and screw, but then I noticed these pipes worked like an antenna. Okay. So, yeah, if you found, metal, screw in, yeah, you definitely, the pipes can pass current or RF signal, that they can be very good at that, and they're filled with liquid. One thing is, of course, you could put there are electrically isolating but not thermally isolating washers that you can get. So check McMaster Car for things that are electrically isolating but not thermally isolating. See if that helps. Another thing is you could wrap it in like Kapton tape, which will make handle that high temperature, but is electrically isolating. But I think those thermocouples are your best bet. So you do want to use a K-type thermocouple if you can use those, just because they're inexpensive, they're very durable, and they definitely can handle the 200 degrees C. When you get to that, you can't use a one-wire DS18B20.
And then for clogs, maybe somewhere within that system they can have a flow meter to detect, like, if it's not flowing, then...
Well, if it's not flowing, I think maybe a vibration sensor would actually be the best bet, because, it's very hot. So you can't necessarily put something in line with whatever this hot water. It could melt or get damaged. I mean, there are some high temperature flow meters, but I don't think you want to have something in line. I'd look for maybe see if you can detect the vibration of liquid flowing through these pipes.
Okay. Is the Nordic soft device wireless protocol stack needed in order to burn the hex version of the bootloader on the NRF 52840? Is soft device part of the UF2 bootloader?
Yes,
Hope
it
this
is.
question makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need to have the soft device. So you get that from Nordic and you burn it in.
Here's a good one. Of the two vaccines, which one is best? Good question.
I don't know.
Good question. So I think this Friday, the Moderna one's going to be approved.
Yeah.
And we're going to know pretty soon. There's going to be people that are in a very specific population and group. They're going to get a test, and another people similar is going to get a test, and we're going to see which ones over time have the best efficacy? Which
Yeah.
ones? So far, so based on the data that
It's an
the
equivalent.
company's been saying, apparently the Pfizer one, it's good. Has
But
really,
it has to be cold.
it has to be colder. You still have to get 2 of them. The Moderna one, apparently, if you have COVID, it can help get rid of it. Like you get the vaccine and
Yeah.
So, anyways, and that is very quickly. I just read something today. What we're gonna do is look it up and do real numbers because
Yeah.
right now it's which one is good? We don't know.
Yeah.
But the good news is they're both pretty much the same type of vaccine. It's not 2 different
Yeah.
technologies. It's here's a picture of the virus immune system. Make something like this to stop it.
Yes.
And so there's no real virus in it, which is kind of cool. Anyways, next up, do you have any squirrel storing nuts in your line? How speaking from experience? Do you have any squirrel storing nuts in your line to your house? Oh, I think the person was asking about the pipes.
Yeah, I think that's not for us.
Yeah, I'm just we have squirrels in New York. Okay. Question: with low power deep sleep and CircuitPython, will the LEDs on any stem connected board be powered off, or will there be a way to disable them?
There isn't, because I wanted to keep the power connected through. Things that are externally powered they are powered from the battery, so you would have to add some sort of external switch if you needed to that was default off, and then you would turn it on when you wanted to. But they are connected at all times.
Okay, and then Noak says this is in response to that pipe question. I'm using converter to 1 wire because all of this distance is 20 meters.
Okay.
Okay. What parts do you need to fabricate your own Stemma QT cables? Or are they standard parts from DigiKey?
They are standard parts. They're called JST-SH. So you can just get cables made or get the connectors, and you can crimp your own cables.
Okay. More Stemma QT interconnect cables soon?
We're getting them in stock. I don't know if we're going to get different types, but there's definitely big shipments coming. They sold out very fast. People really like them.
Okay. Someone was asking, I think this was the LED mask that Lumen had. Are those good against COVID? Well, any mask is better than no mask, so maybe.
It does cover your mouth completely,
Yeah.
but it doesn't form a seal.
Yeah.
So you would still want to wear a mask underneath.
Yeah, an LED mask is, obviously, I'd probably put an LED mask over something like a disposable blue surgical mask.
Yeah.
One person had a question earlier, and this was on Twitch, and I'm going to answer this in a counterintuitive way. They're currently a software engineer at a top Department of Defense company. Their current job is not preparing me for bigger opportunities that might come in. I really want to move on, really want to break into big tech. How do I prepare for these super hard interviews at big tech or FANG companies? I'm going to answer this in maybe not the way they're expecting.
Yeah.
So, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google is what that acronym thing stands for.
Yeah.
It might not be the best time to go to Facebook or Google
Yeah.
because those companies are in the middle of antitrust stuff, and inside those companies, it is really tough during those times. And those 2 companies in particular, Facebook and Google, are known for these crazy interview things. There's books that you can get how to ace these interviews.
Yeah.
And that type of interview and that type of style is kind of on the way out. So my suggestion is, if you're just looking into breaking into big tech, and you don't have a ton of responsibilities and you have a lot of time ahead of you, go to a startup.
Or start your own company.
Yeah, go to a startup, which you could be part of as an early person. But those companies are so entrenched and they're so big. And if it's just a money thing, go work in finance, because finance has to compete with FANG all the time. You'll make more money. And although I think finance has a bad reputation, at least it's honest. They're hey, we're here to make as much money as possible. Where Facebook and Google right now are in the fight for their lives because they straight up abused monopoly powers. They had it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
And so preparing for those interviews, there's plenty of resources online for that. But I would say maybe think about what are all the experiences you want to have in life, and
Yeah.
can you do a startup role? Because if you're a developer, the pay is pretty competitive, and these little puzzles and tricks that they're doing for interviews. It's not to get the best candidate; it's often to get the candidate that's like them.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's
Okay.
how I'm answering that one. Okay. Is Pi Zero still 1 per person? Yep.
Yep.
and that's what it is.
Okay.
I can answer the next one. Any updates on a larger screen Magtags? Yeah, what we're going to do is have a whole family of different types of Magtags. So now's a good time to start your collection.
Yeah. Hopefully same code will run on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably will. And
Okay.
it looks like those are all the questions.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Oh, one more. Where do you get that crimper for those tiny stemmas?
JST sells crimpers and removers. Just check JST's website. They'll give you a recommendation for the exact tool to use.
Okay. We're going to wrap up the show tonight. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, everybody. Please continue to have a healthy holiday. Stay safe, wear masks, keep your distance, avoid gatherings just for a little bit longer. You can do it. And special thanks to Takara, who's in the behind-the-scenes Adafruit Slack, all of the Adafruit team members that are helping out in the Discord and more, our Discord community. Thanks for asking some great questions tonight. Thank you to the folks who donated to the Python Foundation. They straight up said, here, we did it. And there's folks all across all the different social media platforms. I'm going to send this over to the Python Foundation. I'm going to say, hey, look, this community rallied.
Yeah.
So thank you so much,
Thanks,
everybody.
Steve. Showing that we're number one.
Yeah, we want to show
Supporting
that
Python.
we want to show that we can give and we can share, and we have a community that likes to do that too. So we'll see everybody next week. Regular scheduled programming for us on Ask an Engineer.
Well, no, next week is unboxing.
Sorry, unboxing next week.
We will have show and
Show
tell.
and tell is normal.
Show and tell is normal.
Then there's unboxing. Then
With
the
JP.
week after is Ask an Engineer.
Even if you didn't get an Ada box, show up because JP might get creative. He might do something kind of fun and funky and creative.
the bar is high.
And you want to see that.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for tonight. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks,
Here is
everybody.
your moment of Zener.
Stay safe. Happy holidays.